Well, howdy diddly dandy there, chums. 'Tis I, Captain of the Steves, and today, chums, for you guys out there in the viewerverse, I want to talk a little bit about my theories and feelings and thoughts when it comes to aliens and the UFOs and UAPs that has been sighted over the last couple of months, and what I feel that might mean. Now, firstly, I want to talk about my own theory on these alien life forms and where I think they may come from. And then I've got a load of polls where I've asked the same questions to you guys in the viewerverse. And I'm going to be showing people's comments, and some of these comments are really outlandish. But then again, so is my own theory. And so, you know. Anyway, my own theory is life begun on Earth, if you believe in evolution and all that sort of jazz, in the sea. Okay, so land critters actually happened through amphibians. So firstly, life started in the water, and then it crawled up onto the land once the land formed from volcanic eruptions and things, grew legs and evolved. Okay, that's the theory of evolution. And then those amphibians grew into reptilians, and then reptiles went into mammals, and then mammals went into humans, and here we are. So if life started in the oceans, then surely the life inside of the oceans would be more evolved by now than the life on the surface. Now, octopuses are super evolved. These jellyfish dudes as well, they're pretty darn freaking gnarly, aren't they? There's some really gnarly cool creatures in our oceans, basically. But what if there's more humanoidy type looking creatures deep down inside of the oceans, like merfolk, or the race of Atlantis, or whatever? What if they've got greater technology than us guys up on the surface? What if we are a byproduct of their experiments? And the reason I say that is when you look at other primates don't really have eyebrows or moustaches, and when you look at our hair growth on our bodies, like any of the hair growth, like even underarm or wherever, it's all to do with water displacement to keep the water out of our eyes. I kind of believe in the aquatic ape theory, but when you look at all the other primates that we're said to evolve from, they don't have this water sort of ingress barrier when it comes to their hair growth. They seem to be very land-based mammals, and their toes and all sorts of other appendages are for climbing trees and living in trees. And why are we different? I honestly feel that the actual creatures or the gods or whatever created us for a specific purpose. I kind of feel that if there are creatures that are quite advanced, living either inside of our oceans or inside of our planet even, I think they maybe created us, engineered us to be on the planet's surface as a defensive barrier, like an organic soldier. So if anything does come to our planet, firstly they're going to see how we drive on our planets, near misses every 5 seconds, and think, these guys are insane. We're not invading that country or that planet even, you know. I know I would if I was an observer from space. I'd be like, no, these people are insane. Okay. All right. But anyway, maybe we're just there as a defensive barrier, like a soldier class in a roundabout way. They do whatever they want inside of the planet, inside of the oceans, and we're just there as a defensive barrier. I mean, it could even be more sinister than that. I mean, I used to keep dart frogs in that tank over there. Well, I had a different tank. But anyway, I used to keep dart frogs, and I used to have to create a culture of fruit flies. And those fruit flies, once they actually got to a certain amount, I'd tap a load into the actual frogs. And then I would leave the fruit flies again to grow until there was enough to tap a few more in for the frogs. Could it be that we're a culture? Could it be that maybe one day these creatures that created us are going to come along to harvest us for whatever reasons? Who knows? Some say for hybridization. They're trying to make some sort of hybrid race between humans and aliens. But anyway, that's my theory on it all. A little bit dark, a little bit odd, but at the same time, does it have weight? Does that sort of ring true to you? Could it be that what we're seeing is these aliens are just super advanced creatures from this planet that choose not to be seen by us? Anyway, right, so I'm going to jump on over to the Tinterwebs and I'm going to get your opinions out there in the viewerverse. Strap yourselves in because some of these are bloody hilarious. Righto! Well, okay there, chums. Right, so the first poll that I done was if aliens visited and actually made themselves known. How would you feel? Just another day wouldn't faze me, says 27% of the audience. Would be amazed, maybe a little shocked. 55% hit that one up. Freaked out, they could be demons or evil or harmers. 8% of people hit that up. Want to see polls results, not giving it any thought, says 10% of people outside in the viewerverse. I myself would be kind of in between the two of these, dependent. But then I might even be freaked out, dependent. It depends on how they actually reveal themselves, to be fair. I mean, if it was that they're just these plasmatic orb-like creatures that we've been seeing in recent footage, that wouldn't really faze me. That would just be another day. Okay, well, they're alien life forms, are they? Well, that's just like jellyfish in our oceans, mate. It doesn't really bother me at all. When they come down here and start shaking people's hands and talking, that's a different day. I mean, that, yes, I'd be amazed and I'd be a little bit shocked. Lovely jubbly. If they started coming down and beaming people up willy-nilly and experimenting on us, yeah, I'd be freaked the fudge out. So it depends, to be fair. But at the same time, I do hope that I get to understand that we're not alone in this universe in my lifetime. That would be nice. I would like that as a notion, as a thought. But at the same time, it depends on how they reveal themselves. Okay, so here we go. We've got Gorigayan, concerned at how the rest of the world reacts. That to which I've already accepted as an objective truth. And 5 people like that one. We've got Danderson. I'd give it 2 weeks before the novelty wears off and the papers are full of lurid stories about alien sex. You know that's going to happen. You know it's going to happen. Oh, freaking brilliant. That made me chuckle, that one. Exploring life. I think it'd be exciting and scary at the same time, depending on their intentions. It would have profound ontological shock on the world and population, something that could finally bring humanity together. I would like to hope that would happen, to be fair. If they were an existential threat and the human race had to come together to fend them off, then I think that could bring us all together in some way, shape or form. But yeah. Fitzgerald Michael says the original series of V is most likely the way it's going to go down. Well, wait till the next poll, because in the next poll I ask you what type of aliens you think are going to turn up, and I've got pictures. Yes, that are created with AI. Anyway, we'll get to that in a moment. George Hadley, it's so hard to say. I guess apprehensive, curious. I doubt that I would be impressed and could just be as farming as for resources. See, this is a thing. Whenever we've gone overseas to go and see another race, it's usually because we don't want to meet that other race. We kind of want their resources, you know? Colonialism. Yeah, one scenario that's hard for me to get behind is that it would be respectful and want to share knowledge. This is probably because of how I expect the human race would treat lower forms of alien life. If we set out to explore, colonists can really stink. Yeah. That is something that's in the pit of my stomach, you know? If they've got all these cool resources and they can build crafts and technology that we don't got, they've obviously probably even had resources that we don't got. I don't know. It's a bit of an odd one, that one. Michael Corpley, don't freak out. The Nephilim or Watchers, they're demons, though. Well, yeah, they're also angels, weren't they? The Nephilim were fallen angels. They were those that were in charge to watch over us, but then they decided to lay with humans, the creations, and they had giants and strange offspring. And then they got demonized. The word demon just means hidden, I believe, or is that a cult? One or the other. But I think demon means knowledge inside of the old Arabic. I don't know. Anyway, Valentine Malley. It'd be fascinating and excited. Yeah, I would be fascinated and excited too. And I would love to know that we're not alone in the universe, like I said. It just depends on how things happen. They're here already. Some of them wear flat caps and make YouTube videos. Do they really? Actually, Spartan responded to this one. I put, take me to your Murray. I mean, leader. Right, okay, a little No Man's Sky in house joke there, peoples. But anyway, we're second poll. Here we go. Where do you think aliens, UAPs, UFOs, people are seeing are coming from? Okay. I put space, not from this planet, 36%. Oceans are inside the planet, 15% of people feel that. Another realm or reality or dimension, or I should have put time here as well, 16%. Want to see poll results, perhaps all three, 33%. Right, okay. Berith the cat, devourers of deities. Oh my days, that's a frickin' name, isn't it? Local drone store, Amazon. Airport, local or international. Their imagination, etc. So they kind of feel that a lot of this is just man-made, cretinous type stuff of being made up. Yeah, with the amount of experimental craft and with the array of drones that people can purchase, a lot of these that I'm seeing that do have the blinking lights, even light formations like in triangular shapes, I'm thinking, are these just drones that people have adapted? You know, when you fly something so high, and it's night sky, and you've got an array of lights, it's quite easy to make something look like an alien craft. The only ones that I don't have explanation for, the ones that go zip, zap, zoop, zop, zoom, gone. You know? They don't make those sounds. But you get what I mean. They zoom around all over the place, and then at breakneck speeds that just can't be done even by drones, and then they zoom off really high vertically to the point that they just disappear into the stratosphere. Those ones to me are like, okay, well that was different. And also these new sort of plasmatic orby state, like almost like ball lightning things, and again they just dissipate or vanish after a while. You know, I really don't know about those. Now I have heard a podcast by some guy that says that the government actually have lasers that they can fire from 3 points to create a holographic sort of a blob inside of the air, but they do it to charge the ion particles in the sky to show up on radar. And they've done this a few times just on borderlines of enemy territory to see how quick the enemy responds to this discharge of ion particles, because it looks like that there's a plane. So they want to see how quickly Russians can get their jets out there, or the Chinese to get their jets out there. And they reckon that people are now getting this same technology maybe inside of the general populace, and they're just doing it above our own airspace for, you know, fun. The deep oceans on Earth would be perfect for them. They'd be close enough to monitor all that we do and impossible for us to get them, says Fitzgerald Michael. I'm kind of on that same wavelength as I gave my theory earlier, you know. James Lark, subterranean, always been here. Get a night vision camera and look at the night sky. You'll never be the same, says James Lark. I haven't read the replies on here. Legit, you got to expand this comment. Got me curious now. Cool. If they are subterranean, surely the sky is the last place they'd want to go. Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a double-edged one, that one, isn't it, to be fair? Odd, but at the same time, interesting. I haven't got night vision camera. I used to have a thermal imaging camera, and I had pointed that at the sky. I didn't see anything on it from that. But anyway, from the beyond the boundary, okie dokie, says Hadive. They're us from the future, says Smash. And there's a few people that have said that inside of these comments. Abyssal horrors, Earth, Hades, Sheol, Void and Terrors, Affirma, says Michael Corpley. He's very much into his mythologies and religiously typed texts by the looks of things, Michael Corpley. He was on the previous one as well, wasn't he? With the old Nephilim. Snowflake Killer, McDonald's. They come from McDonald's. Oh, yeah. Okay, they quite likely. Okay, right, here we go. Brilliant. I love you guys. You're freaking awesome. The way your minds work is brilliant. Okay, right. What alien race do you feel is the most likely from the below, I spelled that wrong, list to be real or the first to make themselves known? 54% of people hit up the grey aliens. So, grey aliens, this is an interesting one. I used to have sleep paralysis, bouts of like where you'd kind of wake up but your body doesn't wake up, so you can see everything in the room but you can't move. And inside the room I would be actually hearing audible clicks and like almost like chirping of crickets and toads. And then I would see these little shadowy people with big freaking bulbous heads. I never actually saw skin colour. I wouldn't say they were grey. They were just jet black. And they would sort of like come around and they'd be leaning and looking at me, or even sitting on me in some occasions, and that's why I couldn't move, or whether that's just my mind making stuff up. I mean, you are in a state between being awake and being asleep, so lucidity. But why would I always see these shadow entities? It was pretty darn freaking weird. And I'm wondering whether other people that have had sleep paralysis, they've also reported similar sort of entities. Could it be that that has just evolved into these entities? But then there's also the story of the occultist Aleister Crowley. Now, Aleister Crowley used to do all different rituals to try and make contact with demons or angels or other worldly, earthly bodies. And he actually drew one of these things that he came in contact with called Lum, and it looks surprisingly like a grey alien. So I can see why people are saying that these things are freaking demons, because it's got that occultic tie-in. And if you didn't know that and you always thought, yeah, whatever. But anyway, hopefully I'm putting images up on the screen right now of all this stuff that I'm talking about. But the grey alien to me is probably the most typical of people's sightings and what people think an alien looks like, thanks to pop culture, sci-fi and everything else. But I'm wondering whether the grey alien might be some sort of automaton. You know, say if it was the reptilians that were most likely. And if you saw a reptilian, you're probably going to cack your pants. You know, these things look like they could eat you alive. They probably could. So if they were to be sending up things to observers, interact with us, then surely they're going to create something like a drone, some sort of thing that they can send up that can walk amongst us, that if we did see it, we're not going to cack our pants. We're not going to run away screaming. We're going to be more curious. Oh, there's only little, he can't hurt me. Maybe these things are some sort of biological created entity that these can place their consciousness into, send up here to sort of remote view on us, if you like. A bit like how we use drones in the sky, these little freaking annoying buggers. Maybe these are what they're sending up to look at us as drones. Okay, so reptilians. Reptilians kind of make sense in a way that, you know, if evolution is a thing other than a theory, which I kind of feel that it could be. Okay. What if the creatures on the planet, one of the first things that came out of the oceans turned into amphibians, and they turned into reptiles, and then mammals came afterwards? What if there was a super advanced, evolved, reptilian, humanoid-like creatures before there was a mammal-type version? What if these things have been here all along? I mean, a lot of reptilians are very good reptiles inside of our actual natural verse right now, are very good at camouflage. You know, we've got the chameleon. You've got alligators and crocodiles that pretend to be like freaking floating logs and stuff. They're very good at blending into their environment. What if they can disguise themselves as humans? I know I'm touching onto the realms of David Icke right now, but when you look at pop culture across the world, not just pop culture, just culture across the world and different races, they all have stories about reptilian humanoid creatures. It's even like Japan. They've got like their leaders could morph into dragons, and that's documented. I mean, when you look at their calendar, they've got on there like, you know, the year of the rabbit, the year of the snake. We're in the year of the snake now, the goat or whatever. But on there, they've also got year of the dragon. They've put a mythological creature amongst all these ones that are real. Why? You've got in Tibet, they do what's called the dragon dance, where they worship this race of dragon people that came from caves underneath Tibet. And apparently there's a temple where you're not allowed to go in there because it's locked, because the reptilian people still live in there. Which is pretty darn weird. Okay, you've also got the race of the Naga. And you've got the Hindu religion that believes that there are people that live inside of our planet that have got strange coloured skin, strange heads like elephant heads. I know it's not reptilian, but even there's some sort of depictions of reptilian-esque like looking creatures when you go back to even the Aztecs or the Mayans or even the Sumerians. different cultures reported this thing. Even Beowulf has like a half reptilian, like female character, and even the Greeks picked up on Medusa with snakes for the hair and a lower half that's a snake. It's been there. It's been there. It's even in biblical terms, like where God punishes the creature that got them to talk about, or got them to have the apple, and cast the lower form into that of a snake. You're cruel in the belly for the rest of your days. And that was a punishment. So it wasn't a snake beforehand. It got turned into a snake afterwards, or a reptilian. Interesting stuff. Anyway, the Nordics. So the Nordics don't overly look like this always, I suppose. I mean, yes, they've got very blonde or white hair, and what people report. No other sort of hair on them, almost like albinos. But a lot of people say they have blue eyes, and they're really tall. They're about 7 foot tall. And there is a whole thing of Richard Admiral Byrd's diary of Richard Admiral Byrd going inside of our Earth and getting accosted by golden UFO and taken into some crystal palace where he actually spoke to the Nordics, this race of like really tall, blonde, blue-eyed people that were far more advanced than us. And that was as he flew over the Arctic, like, I don't know, South Pole, North Pole, or Antarctica, one of them. And he ended up flying over lush landscapes. I've done a whole video on Richard Admiral Byrd. I suggest you go watch it because it's tantalising. It's pretty interesting stuff. Go hit that one up. So, the Nordics. There's also been recent stories of a egg-shaped craft being found again in Antarctica. So it kind of feels that these ones, these Nordics, are kind of tied to the polar regions and probably Earth-dwelling and inside of our planet, as well as the reptilians. Both of these are said to be inside of our planet, inside of caves or cave systems, or inside of a place called Agartha, the hollow earth theory, and all that sort of shenanigans. I love the hollow earth theory. I haven't done a video yet on the hollow earth theory. Maybe I should go into it into more detail. Let me know if that appeals to you. Sound off in the comments section. Okay, lastly, the Anunnaki. So this also stems from the Sumerian culture. When you look at the Sumerian tablets, the Sumerians were sort of like capturing inside of these tablets what our known galaxy, our own solar system looks like. They would actually depict each of the planets in size and in order and in colour with their pigmentation perfectly without telescopes. How? How did they do this? How did the Egyptians know where to build the pyramids to align to certain star constellations without telescopes? I mean, we're only learning about some of these planets they painted in the last like 50, 60 years. They knew millennia ago. Anyway, the Sumerian culture were the first people to actually have a written language where they actually said about creation and who put us on this planet, and they actually put it down to these people called the Anunnaki. Now, there is some translations by Alexander Stitchin that a lot of people have put under discredit and are questioning massively. But he said that they, the Anunnaki, came on a wandering planet called Nibiru, which is on an elliptical orbit that comes around Earth every, say, 40,000 years or something like that, or 4,000 years. One or the other. Yeah, it's got a 4 in it somewhere. But they may be coming and returning. And they tend, as they return into our universe, into our solar system, a lot of strange things happen. And one of the things that happens, according to Stitchin, is the Earth goes through a transformation. Its poles start to shift, and it wanders and it rotates, and it causes massive floods, biblical floods, and resets our planet. But these Anunnaki realise that they and their wandering planet is the cause of this, and they come down and they intervene and try to help the human race as much as possible. But they do it for selfish reasons. They need the gold on our planet to power a lot of their ships and their own technology. So for helping us and getting our civilization back to the point that we can at least house ourselves, look after ourselves, and start farming and survive and reproduce and build up our civilizations from scratch, they take all of our gold. They take all of our resources. Which does make me wonder whether that has something to it, but who knows? I mean, they are saying that our planet is going through a polar shift as I speak. I mean, there's some people saying that the African continent, due to this, is starting to split. They reckon it will be completely split with under 50 years if it continues the way that it's going. I don't know. You can do a little bit of research and jump on Google or jump on YouTube even and type in African continent splitting and you'll see what I mean. And there's quite a lot of different airfields that have had to repaint their landing strips. You've got animals that are swimming around in circles, or fish that swim around in circles. You've got other animals on land that are walking around in circles. You've got a lot going on when it comes to this whole polar shift and polar wobble. And yes, our North Pole has been quite erratic. It has been moving at quite a alarming rate when you look at even some of the scientific journals. It does make me feel that the pole shift is probably underway. Is it going to do a full reversal? I really don't know. It is interesting though, they have had reports that there is a asteroid that's heading towards Earth that may hit in 2032. Could they be downplaying it? Is it an asteroid? Or is it a larger object? Could it be Nibiru on its return? I don't think so, because most telescopes pointing at the sky would be telling us otherwise. So yeah, I've seen videos saying it's the return of Nibiru. It's not an asteroid, but I don't believe that for 1 second. Mainly because even the most amateur of astronomer right now can buy decent enough telescopes to see this comet that's approaching, and it's only said to be a small asteroid. It's not like a world-destroying planet. It's not a Death Star. Okay, Gorrigan, the Grey could also be our distant future descendants and therefore not actually an alien. So this whole time traveller thing is getting quite a lot of weight. I've seen a few comments around these little grey aliens could be a future version of us, but massively evolved. The only reason I don't feel that is the case is because how long have we been on this Earth now? And how much evolval has the human gone through? I don't see a massive evolutionary jump from primitive human to current modern day human. It's just been technology advancements, and that's not biological advancements. We haven't started to shrink. We haven't started to get darker eyes. The only thing I can think of is perhaps if it is a future version of us, it's a form of biological, robotical entity. We're getting quite good at bioengineering. We can do cloning now. We can also make decent robots, or at least Tesla has Optimus on the bake. What if a couple of generations of robot, a couple of generations of AI creates these things? And there's some sort of automaton or some sort of biological created entity. And they have learnt how to time travel and integrated AI, perhaps. Maybe. Who knows? Till we get one of these things and actually, understand what they are, it's hard to say. Now, apparently, people say that we've already had these. I've done videos on alien interviews and all sorts of other shenanigans. I just think if it was the case, there would have been a little bit more disclosure before now. I just, who knows? Anyway, they might want to keep this secret. Anyway, Orion's starseed may be a galactic government that represents many species instead of just one species. I mean, looking at these, each of them they've all got interesting backstories. They've all got plausibility. I've just told you everything I know in a synopsis. I've given you summaries of each of these. I mean, I could do whole videos on each of these and really go to town on all of the stuff that I know about each of these things from around the web. If that appeals to you, let me know. Let me know, sign up in the comments. Let us know if you want to see a video on the Greys, on the Reptilians, on the Nordics, or the Anunnaki. Let us know. In fact, I could do a poll, couldn't I? What would you like to see a video on next? And I could put up the same images. Yeah, I could do a poll. Nice. Cool. That's a tough one. Hopefully I'm not around at that time to find out. But if it's during my lifetime, when they do show up, I hope I'm not on the toilet. Okay, James, you and me both. Yeah, that would be good. I can also emphasize with everything you said. Yep, lovely jubbly. I think it's already here, and it's us, undiscovered microbial or octopi. Now, when you do look at octopuses and cuttlefishes and the way that they can change colour, the fact that they've got multiple brains and organs and they can survive horrendous freaking limbs being torn off and they slowly regenerate, I kind of feel that octopuses and octopi are probably more evolved and probably just as intelligent as us. I mean, their brain spans their whole body. I mean, that's evolution right there, isn't it? unless they came from the stars. And yeah, you're quite right. Maybe they're going to inherit the Earth after us. I do love octopuses. I really do. I think they're the most magnificent creature on this planet. I really do. And also jellyfish, you know, Pteranopticalis and jellyfish. They can actually revert their age whenever they want. They're the only immortal creature on this planet. Although some people are saying that lobsters could be immortal. Yeah, honestly. Yeah, jump on YouTube. Lobsters, immortal. And there's videos on it. It's interesting stuff. Eliax. As much as I like to have grey aliens, alien life forms would not necessarily have humanoid forms. We as humans tend to imagine intelligent life forms as humanoids, probably because we don't know anything else. But animals like crows, apes and octopuses are also intelligent. Also, ants and bees could possibly be considered as non-humanoid civilizations. Evolution could have favoured other types of animals in the worlds. So yeah, they would probably not look anything like any of those alien tropes. Yeah, there's that video, there's that movie where these visitors come from another planet and they're like giant octopus squids and they spray up signs on the glass. And I think it's got the lady from Silence of the Lambs that goes and talks to them. I can't remember was it called, Signals or something like that, or Signs was another one with the water, wasn't it? But anyway, yeah, that movie was great because it actually depicted aliens as being non-bipedal, human-esque. And it did paint that picture in the head. Hold on, why are we thinking that they're going to look like us? Yeah, they might not look anything like us. Which makes me think these plasmatic orbs that we're seeing, if they're not created by lasers and holograms, and they're not ion particles, you know, maybe there's some sort of new intelligent life that's now making itself known to us. I find it odd that we've started seeing all this stuff happening up inside of our skies after we started tinkering around with the quantum mechanics, quantum entanglement. We're now making all these quantum computers. I'm wondering whether these strange balls of light that's being seen now are from the quantum realm, and maybe they're a new species, and maybe they're now looking at us because we're looking at the quantum. That's another theory of mine. But you know, I have seen other people also making that same connection, mainly on TikTok and general populace, other people just like me, curious minded. I'm not seeing it from scientific circles. Fitzgerald Michael, you pose a very interesting question there. I suppose any reasonable answer is a possibility. I'd say so. Please be the grey-skinned future humanoid ones and not let it be the bugs, says Levi Rivas. Yeah, giant bug-type aliens. If it goes Starship Troopers, yeah, that's a brown trouser moment, isn't it, to be fair? I mean, aliens that are bugs with exoskeletons, that could be pretty difficult to fend off. Power Yapper, as long as they drink tea, I don't really mind. Yeah, if they've got a new brand of tea, that'd be lovely. I could do with a new brand of tea to try. As an English gent, I have tried most. Jargana, human ancestry from another planet. Possibly. I mean, there's a lot of people that feel that perhaps we came from Venus or Mars or something like that and then came and colonized Earth. I would say if that was the case, if we were a breakaway human race that came to this planet, then ancient human history would be very different than the history that we have now. You know, we'd have better documentation. I would like to have hoped anyway, you know. Michael Corpley, fallen angel. Oh yeah, he just said that in the first comment. But yes. Impersonation of all of them. Okay, nice. Yep. And going back to this one with the human ancestry. Say if we wanted to go and populate Mars right now. Okay, we'd have to terraform it. We'd have to try and bring oxygen and water there and start growing stuff. It would start in biodomes, and then as we build an atmosphere, then it would break away from biodomes, and it would be a slow evolutionary process. Well, surely if we were to colonize Mars, we would take all of our knowledge that we have now to Mars, and then we'd start building on Mars, and hopefully get to a technological advancement where we can then move to another planet, and the technological advancement would be a snowball. Whereas here on Earth, it feels like we've very much started from the Stone Age, worked ourselves up to the Metal Age, Bronze Age, and through the ages, Iron Age, and now we're here in the AI Age, if you like to call it that. I'm fairly sure it'd be coined that at some point. Yeah, after the whole economy revolves around AI, which I think it will do. Give it another like 10 years. John McKnone, dolphins? What? Where did you get dolphins from? They're not on the list. But okay, fair enough, John McKnone. None of the above, says Cholin. Now, yeah, a lot of people, I don't think, believe in aliens as yet. And I believe that we're not alone in the universe. I believe there has to be life out there. I mean, if the planets are as they say they are, I would like to hope that there's alien life out there, whether it's as intelligent, whether it can traverse space and time, whether it can reach Earth, has to be seen. I mean, I'd say more and more evidence is coming out. More and more sightings are coming to the forefront. But can they be trusted? Do we know for sure that it is aliens? It could just be elaborate hoaxes. It could just be people on Amazon, like was mentioned inside of my comments. But anyway, people, I hope this has given you food for thought. Back to the studio. Okay, chums, well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Captain Steve. Yeah, I used to do cup of teas with Captain Steve. This is kind of something that I want to try and do at weekends, a little thought-provoking video, and put it across as a Captain Steve's Talks video. I haven't got a cup of tea on my desk. I just had one with Ivy this morning. This is my dressing gown that I got on, by the way. So yeah, it's just a very chilled, relaxed conversation about things that are interesting me, things that are inside of my mind that I want to put across and share with you guys. And I've also tried to bring in that community aspect and feel when I'm bringing the polls across. I hope you've enjoyed looking at your comments back, and yeah, if you do see some really odd polls happening over on my channel, it's probably because I'm getting ready to do a video like this. So if you do want your comments featured, get a type in when you see those polls, get a vote in when you see those polls. And until next time, salutamondo, goodbye, and goodbye again.